If a 300-foot tall folk monster was rampaging across the country on a mission of vengeance, again, what would you do? At the end of Troll 1, Norwegian Special Forces successfully barbecued the Troll King to ashes. No thanks to Nora. Her human guilt nearly got everyone stomped, whacked, and chomped on like gushers. I genuinely hoped that they would put her in a zoo enclosure with gorillas so that she could learn firsthand why dangerous animals belong in cages. But nope. The great Professor Nora Tiedemann is back in charge for some insane reason, and that is bad news for everyone else. In this How to Beat video, I'm gonna break down the mistakes made, what they should have done, and how to beat the MEGA-Troll in Troll 2. We start out with a flashback to Nora's childhood, being read folk tales about trolls by her papa. No wonder Nora's brain is so damaged. Since she came out of the womb, her daddy's been indoctrinating her with historical stories of Olaf the Holy leading a crusade against the trolls of the past. Those evil Christians slaughtering troll babies and cleansing the land of ethnic trolls for no reason at all. What the heck? Those trolls never hurt anybody. According to this children's book, the big lovable trolls were plowing the fields, participating in local food drives, paying their taxes, fighting forest fires, and even helping kids with their math homework. Just minding their business, when out of nowhere, for absolutely no reason, arrogant, fanatical, evil humans cut them down. The revisionist troll washing by her father got so bad that Nora actually built her entire worldview around these children's books. History is written by the victor, which is why most people consider trolls to be dangerous and barbaric. Doesn't mean the odd idiot can't author their own dumb interpretation. I'm gonna read between the lines here and go out on a limb. A troll or two probably had a temper tantrum that led to catastrophic levels of death and destruction, which nearly wiped out entire nearby human civilizations. And honestly, that is not an unreasonable assumption. It's not like Olaf was out there chopping up baby deer. These are giant cave trolls that exhibit human-like qualities, emotions, behaviors, and selfish drives. They have their own communities, their own land, their own families, and their own agendas. You really think trolls are above grudging over every petty dispute imaginable? Of course they would get upset that a farmer staked a fence a couple inches past the property line. Nerds, this message is sponsored by Raycon, because I suspect some of you are stuffing $5 junk pods in your ears. That's a little sad when the newest genius creation from Raycon has already materialized on God's green earth. Raycon's Essential Open Earbuds. They sit comfortably outside my ear canal, letting me hear the world naturally, while still pumping out premium audio at half the price that others charge, because Raycon is just a good company. Unlike the big audio cabal trying to fleece you, they're super lightweight, so unlike other around-the-ear buds, I don't feel that ear fatigue after a couple hours. The multi-angular hooks keep them secure, whether it's a windy day or you're running for your life. They're IPX5 waterproof, so I don't have to worry about my earbuds getting fried while I'm running outside during a lightning storm. With 8 hours of battery in the earbuds plus 36 hours in the case, I basically never run into that situation where I grab my earbuds, hit the gym, throw a couple bucks up on the barbell, crank on Can't Be Stopped by Roy Jones, unrack it so its full weight is bearing down on top of my skull and sternum. Then my earbuds die, along with all my mental motivation, fortitude, and gains. Not with Raycon's Essential Open Earbuds. If you still have Christmas shopping to do, Raycons make the perfect gift. So click the link in the description or go to buyraycon.com/nerdopen to get up to 20% off for the holidays. That's buyraycon.com/nerdopen. This is where the real problem starts. Trolls are dumb, irrational, easily angered, hyper-violent, and lack any awareness of the property damage their giant feet cause. They're not intelligent enough to negotiate a nuanced compromise or agree on any kind of cooperative plan for the advancement of civilization. And that becomes devastating because in the darkness, they are extremely hard to kill, even with conventional modern firepower. Combine that with their size and strength, and a single pissed off troll could wipe an 1100s human settlement clean off the map. It's not hard to imagine trolls seeing the growing human population as a threat to their land and species, and lashing out with genocidal consequences. And it's just as easy to picture Christians seething with rage after a behemoth swallowed their family members whole, squished their friends into paste, and crushed their town into rubble. But nerd, how can you say for sure who cast the first stone? Simple. Look at the troll. Do you think a human walked up and threw the first stone at that? Absolutely not. A literal giant the size of a skyscraper does not get attacked without a very good reason. And realistically, you would need to coordinate a large-scale assault just to scratch it. Even if humans did cast the first stone, it would accomplish nothing and would not justify the scale of the troll's retaliation. All I'm saying is that it is far more likely that the gorilla hammer-fisted a bunch of preschoolers first than a group of preschoolers tuning up a gorilla. The sheer size difference alone makes it unlikely that the humans started beefing unless the trolls caused a problem first. And the moment humans realized that a single troll could exterminate them, the conclusion became obvious. The trolls had to become extinct. The Christians had to do it to him. The story makes Olaf out to be some madman who incited unwarranted violence. In reality, exterminating hundreds or even thousands of trolls would be a serious and immensely dangerous undertaking. It would have cost the Christians dearly. A campaign like that would require the will, coordination, and military strength of the entire human civilization. For such a brutal effort to be carried out, the majority of humanity in that area would have needed to agree that the threat was severe enough to justify the cost. Remember, these were humans who supposedly once lived in harmony with the trolls, yet they still backed a crusade that, as things tend to go, might have went a hair too far. But to be fair, killing baby trolls is much easier than adults. Why would you wait until they are a towering full-grown beast? Nah, nip it in the bud. I'm not saying the humans were right to do everything that they did. I'm saying the story she built her entire belief system around is most likely an oversimplified piece of nonsense that does not reflect the nuanced reality of that conflict. And because of her distorted worldview, she's setting herself up to make horribly risky, life-costing decisions for as long as she's left in charge. Of course, I'm sure the plot will be written to appease her ideology though.
Hvorfor var det ingen som hjalp trollet da? Det hadde jeg gjort.
The humans were the real monsters. We start out following Nora Tiedemann, out in Steinbudelen, Jotunheimen, eating canned spaghetti, fully locked into the troll rabbit hole, when a mysterious man shows up at her door during an intense blizzard. He lets himself in, as one does, then says, "Hello?" The man quickly says he's Andreas Isaacson, her old pal, and lapdog to the Prime Minister. I really appreciate the intensity of their reunion. I mean, Andreas could have simply opened with, "Hello, my name is Andreas Isaacson. I let myself in because it's a blizzard and your door was unlocked. Is Nora here?" But there's nothing quite like the blood-pumping feeling of almost getting stabbed to death to rekindle old connections. Andreas drops the bomb on Nora. He tells her that they found more trolls, and they need an expert to contain them for national security.
I guess I could come out of retirement.
No. No need. Just a recommendation will do.
All right. I'll do it.
A scenic helicopter ride and signing of a confidentiality agreement, and they arrive at the Vemork power station, basically Norway's Area 51. A couple of professors brief her on an old secret World War II project codenamed Jotun.
Guess you'd like to see the big tamale, huh?
It turns out the Norwegians have been storing this hibernating biological weapon, a sentient Jaeger-style mech warrior that they named MEGA-TROLL, underneath the power station for 100 years. I'm guessing we've never heard a MEGA-TROLL throwing tanks through the Reichstag's windows because he's an uncontrollable monster that would be absurdly difficult to put back in the bottle, whom you can only use at night or else he'll instantly turn to ashes. I like Oppenheimer's creation better, a portable sun that you can mass produce, load into vehicles, missiles, or even backpacks, and programmably detonate on command. The best part is that there's no cleanup required, and no need to haul anything back to your Norwegian power station bat cave. They have quite an operation going on here. Literally hundreds of years of scientific research, which Nora will undoubtedly assume complete command over, citing her extensive background of children's books. Apparently, their idea to freeze MEGA-TROLL in stone was inspired by Nora's creative solution in Oslo. What were they using before? Steel braided cables? Even that French man with 90% of his brain liquefied could have told you to use UV lights. The sun turns them to stone. Normal lights do nothing. Maybe we should try lights that contain the same intense wavelengths as the sun. Let's see what other novel ideas Nora has to contribute to the research.
Troll natur, gjort av jord og stein.
Right.
Okay, I'm with the project lead. Get her out of here. Andreas takes her to the showroom where they're storing all the troll artifacts that they've collected. Texts written in Latin, Old Norse, and Sanskrit, runes that date back to before Christ, Saint Olaf's troll law. As of now, none of these collectibles add anything to the conversation that we didn't already know. The big question on everyone's mind is this: if there was a troll in Dover, and they have a troll here, it stands to reason there may be more trolls out there. A lot more trolls. And these trolls may be upset for reasons. The concern is that, much like Olaf in the 1100s, if even a handful more trolls unite and go berserk too, and they're not prepared, the consequences will be catastrophic. The problem is, their research has stalled, and with this great threat looming on the horizon, they need an expert with a self-taught degree in trollnomics. They need the thought leader behind Operation Jingle Bells.
Jeg trenger deg, professor Nora Tidemann.
Oh, come on. Nora's response? She suddenly has to use the bathroom, which is code for sneaking into the unauthorized zone so that she can sing lullabies to the MEGA-TROLL. Wow. When I worked at an SEO company, we had tighter security measures for updating metadata on a client website than Project Jotun has for keeping unauthorized personnel away from a literal primeval troll. You know, those authorized access only signs are usually there for a good reason, because unauthorized people have not been briefed on what to do and what not to do, what to touch and what not to touch, which in this case was the MEGA-TROLL. You were brought in for your out-of-the-box thinking, not for you to go completely rogue and do whatever the you want. You're dealing with a WMD, not a fairy tale pet that you think you have an emotional connection with. Didn't we prove that in the last movie when you nearly got killed simping for the Troll King? Nora's got that human troll mommy savior complex going. By the time security's caught on, the beast has awoken. This is bad, but Nora here is just giddy with excitement. Did you forget how easily these things could kill everyone in here? You don't know this dude, Jotun. This assumption that all trolls are innately soft-loving, benevolent forest creatures is absurd. For all you know, this troll was the village psycho, even if he was a chill troll. How do you think it's feeling about waking up trapped in some Norwegian research dungeon, getting fried with UV lights? It doesn't know you. It can't converse ideas with you. I highly doubt it's gonna deeply resonate with your sanctimonious vibes over the sound of blaring alarms and the sight of men with weapons arriving. If anything, it's gonna react more like Wolverine. Alright, time to crank up the UV light and put the great Professor Nora Tiedemann in a box. Nora panics at the sight of the UV light. Did you ever think that this might have gone a lot more smoothly had you clearly communicated your plan to literally anyone beforehand? Then the entire station would not have rightfully panicked when the hibernating giant suddenly woke up. Well, the boss lady knocks a cup of coffee onto the big red button, which proceeds to shut down all the UV lights in the facility. You're telling me the only effective means of preventing MegaTroll from killing everyone in this facility was irreparably shorted out by a cup of coffee? I guess that means it's time to evacuate the premises in an orderly single-file line. Ah, everyone scram! They really should have used more, bigger, stronger chains and engineered them to remove any slack. Any extra slack in the line just lets a creature that size build up enough kinetic energy to overload the chain's integrity, causing it to snap, which is exactly what happened. The silver lining here is that if anyone's gonna die, it's gotta be Nora, since she's the closest. You best believe the second I make it out of there, I am shoving a steel pipe through those handles. I know it's not gonna stop the troll, but it's gonna stop Nora from escaping. The great Professor Nora Tiedemann can get snorted up a troll nostril for all I care. We know how to kill them, and that's all I need to know. Good. No way she walks out of this unscathed. She got pimp slapped half a football field away from like 5 stories up, with nothing but steel and concrete to break her fall. Oh look, she walked away totally unscathed. Even though he stood there like a complete idiot, that Campbell's Chunky is on your hands, Nora. This is a complete and utter disaster. For 100 years, Project Jotun had operated in the shadows of the Vermork power station. Generations of researchers managed to run the scientific method on a mythical troll with countless novel experiments, all in relative safety. And in a single afternoon, not even an hour after Nora arrived, she woke up the off sleeping giant who kills a bunch of researchers, completely destroys the facility, shuts down the power grid, busted out, and vanished. Probably on a path towards a city to kill everyone. And now Norway's best kept secret is about to go viral. This is where Captain Simp Major Chris comes in.
Problemet med den store sammenhengen din at dere setter mennesker over.
Your diet better consist solely of lentils and leaves. There is a hierarchy to life. You're above or you're below. If you're above, you tend to live longer. If you're below, you tend to die quicker. For anyone not completely brain damaged, it's usually in your best interest to choose life. In this case, that means subduing the low IQ cave trolls. And your problem is that you're placing said low IQ cave trolls above human life. I take it you're not gonna take responsibility for any of the lives lost after you recklessly incited the MegaTroll. I'm with Marion on this. Nora cannot be allowed to have any authority or agency when it comes to actions involving the Jotun. Her recklessness, lack of accountability, maverick bullshit, anti-human priorities will continue to cause deadly consequences for everybody else. Kill her now. The Prime Minister arrives to take inventory of the situation. Marion wants to recapture it, keep it contained for research. Nora obviously wants to do nothing, just to let it roam free.
Kan ikke kontrollere de kreftene der.
Can we play the tapes? You were saying?
Forskningen har verdi på flere områder, men jeg skal ivareta det norske folks sikkerhet.
Thank God the PM is sane. As soon as Nora acts out a turn, again claiming that the big bad humans are hurting innocent troll lives again, the PM tells her he lost his brother 3 years ago in a helicopter accident, in a military operation involving church bells, set to stop a wild troll from destroying a city full of people. Operation Jingle Bells. Does that ring a bell, Nora? Silence. In the briefing room, Major Chris outlines the plan. They've tracked the troll down to a fog bank and have until sunset to destroy it using UV torches and, I quote, powerful enough to make crispy troll fries, fitted onto their new Suna helicopters. At sunset, the troll will be free to move around anywhere under the cover of darkness, and they'll lose track of it. Naturally, Nora butts in.
Du, pappa døde på sitt aller lykkeligste. Vi ga han såpass. Det hele livet mitt. Det
appeals to emotion, guilt, and sentiment. Everything except providing a valid, logical reason for hitching on to a top-secret, high-stakes Special Forces operation using state-of-the-art equipment. And this is right after her reckless, egotistical, negligent behavior caused the Vemork catastrophe, which, lest we forget, happened only hours ago. Has Nora ever said, "Sorry, my B," once in her life? She has repeatedly shown that she will do everything in her power to save troll lives at the expense of humans. That's a pretty massive conflict of interest, considering the entire point of this mission is to terminate the troll. Mark my words, Nora will undoubtedly sabotage this mission. The sheer, utter insanity of allowing Nora to join this op simply can't be overstated enough.
Greit.
Men håll dere I bakgrunnen og hør som jeg sier.
Then what's the point of even bringing her? You know the mission, you know the enemy, you know your weapon systems. It's pretty simple. Fly in after the troll, blast it with the power of the sun until it's a heaping pile of dust. Then fly back to base for some celebratory hot cocos with the little marshmallows. Looks like they're late. It's already sundown at the Hemsedal Ski Resort. Uh-oh. Nothing they realistically could have done.
They're eating her! And then they're going to eat me! Oh my God!
There's Nora's gentle giant, simply living in harmony with humans, minding its business as a happy forest creature. It's nature, okay? Its DNA has more in common with a spruce tree than a human. Yeah, I've never seen a spruce tree eat people. As soon as Major Chris's second in command states that the troll is eating the townsfolk, Nora unbuckles and leans over the helicopter pilot's shoulder to get a better look, probably thinking that he must be wrong. This must be the military propaganda diluting his eyesight. She refuses to sit down despite Chris's orders.
No.
Hold meg fast.
Trust me, nobody's worried about your well-being. They're worried that if the situation gets dynamic, your dense skull is gonna fly forward into the instrument panel and cause us to crash. Chris and Amir strafe the troll. Seems to only be causing superficial burns that are making it quite angry. I get that this was a last-minute retrofit, but man, only 2 choppers was a bit optimistic, especially with the requisite level of intensity only being achievable within arm's reach of the troll. On their next flyby, the troll nunchucks a lift pole into Amir's chopper, severely damaging the tail end.
Det har vært en ære, bror.
That was pretty rough. Thankfully, Nora's here to provide words of encouragement, much needed stoic wisdom.
De fleste monstre blir jo skapte av oss.
Is that the speech you're gonna give at the funerals of all those innocent skiers who died in the most dehumanizing way possible for absolutely no reason? Getting chewed up like Mike and Ike's? Of course not. You wouldn't show up to anyone's funeral. The trolls clearly do not require sustenance the way humans do, or that thing in Vemork would have withered away 100 years ago. These killings were out of spite. Spite from a low IQ monster incapable of discerning the innocent from the guilty. Hell, this dumb beast probably already forgot about Vemork. It was likely just annoyed at the lights and the music. I don't know if you can tell, but I hate this. 40 minutes in with an hour left to go, I'm really not sure I can endure the rest of this insufferable movie. The silver lining here, Major Chris has been gifted with the power of merciless focus. Or not. Apparently he's resorted to following Nora around like a dog and flirting with Marion, all while the troll continues to engage in wanton violence and destruction. The man versus troll conflict is really looking like a territorial dispute more than anything. I'm sure it was the same back in Olaf's time in the 1100s. Humans expanding their settlements, trolls got annoyed, and like a dumb angry toddler, stomped on their Lego town and swallowed the Lego people. Nora leads them into an old Christian troll hunting pit. After clinking one of the troll artifact stones, the hyper nature awakens. According to Nora, this troll is the son of the Mountain King, whatever the that means. They take turns mumming lullabies and feeling the hyper nature. It's disgusting and changes nothing. Andreas asks what its name is.
Jeg bare kalte den vakre, jeg.
Well, that's funny. Its pet nickname for you is Tasty. She then proceeds to give a full situation report about this troll's supposed role in their mission to stop the MEGA-Troll, speaking Norwegian to a cave troll that is only capable of animalistic groans. The son of the Mountain King understands the intricacies of their human plan and agrees to duel with the MEGA-Troll on behalf of the humans. Why? Because troll mommy Nora sang him a lullaby, and that was enough to take her side against another troll, I guess. The plan? Bait the MEGA-Troll into a valley using a flare gun. Once within range, Beautiful will make his dramatic reveal from under the snow. Side note, Chris really needs to chill out with his AR. You are powerless in this situation, bro. The second you pop off, you're gonna have two trolls fighting to mash you up in their molars. Unless you plan on shooting Nora in the back of the head, just let it hang. Beautiful got owned. I really do not see the point of the humans being anywhere near this battlefield. They serve zero purpose and are only putting their own lives in danger for no reason. Just get in the helicopter and fly around from a safe distance. Alright, time for plan B. It's conveniently in the middle of nowhere. Send in the F-35 and drop a tactical nuke on it. You think a walking moss-covered boulder is hypernature? You want to know what I call hypernature? A B-61-12 thermonuclear gravity bomb, basically spawning a mini O-class blue star into the tranquil snow-covered Norwegian mountain valley. They map the MEGA-Troll's path and see it's headed straight for Trondheim. Historically, that's where Olaf launched the Christianization of Norway and led the massacre against the trolls. So the MEGA-Troll is going there for revenge. Makes perfect sense for a creature with its level of intelligence. That massacre happened more than 1,000 years ago, and this thing wants payback now against people who had absolutely nothing to do with any of it. This only reinforces the point. These beings are violent and irrational, with zero discernment or nuance. They just berserk like wild animals, killing indiscriminately. The same behavior showed up in the first movie's Troll. It's like their brains are genetically wired to attack Christians on sight. If a pit bull behaved like that, randomly mauling any woman, man, or child it smelled as Christian, it'd be put down immediately. At this point, I don't see any viable move left except to evacuate everyone in its path and attempt to drop the tactical nuke on it while it's still in the valley. As long as it's 3 miles away from human population centers, it'll be safe to detonate without too much collateral. It's the only guaranteed way to stop this thing before it massacres the 200,000 people living in Trondheim. Instead of relaying crucial updates to the Prime Minister or alerting anyone who could order evacuations, Nora says "F all those evil Christian people" and takes her useless lapdogs on another wild goose chase. Her new plan is to dig up Olaf's remains at the Nidaros Cathedral and magically find something that the troll wants. I fail to see how anything that they find there will help. Honestly, it genuinely feels like she's a traitor to humanity, burning resources on red herrings to protect her misunderstood sweetheart murder troll who's just acting out. Because as she literally said, humans made it a monster. Sure enough, the ancient texts are basically useless. Nora's big conclusion is that Olaf was not trying to eradicate the trolls, but to give them land in Jotunheimen, and that the church killed him to keep the eradication going. So the MEGA-Troll is not seeking revenge on Olaf, it's seeking revenge on everything that this nation was built on. In other words, it's here to indiscriminately kill everyone. Gee, what a surprise! Nothing screams personal revenge plot plot, like killing, destroying, and eating anyone in its path to settle a score with the man who's been dead for more than 1,000 years. Did you honestly think that if you dragged Olaf's mummified corpse through the town and dumped it at the MegaTroll's feet, it would just shrug, forgive the past, and head home in peace? Again, your problem is humanizing a cave troll, projecting our nuanced motivations and intelligence onto a creature whose entire thought process amounts to "Lil Shouties mean, they hurt me, smash them all." By now, news coverage is reporting on the carnage left in the wake of the troll's warpath. Thanks to Nora's traitorous negligence, already there's thousands dead and towns completely destroyed. And it hasn't even reached Trondheim yet.
Men hva skjer etter Trondheim?
Må vi nesten få lov til å komme tilbake til.
Well, Norway's gone. Oh boy, we get a Lord of the Rings moment with everyone dramatically announcing their commitment to stop the troll.
Jeg er med.
Jeg blir.
As if they're heroes of the realm about to make the ultimate sacrifice for humanity. Give me a break. You're a bunch of inept morons. It should already be obvious that everyone's committed to the cause. They've been needlessly risking their lives, troll hunting, if you want to call it that, since this whole thing kicked off. That's never been the question. The real question is whether everybody's on board to kill it. Nora? It's now that they stumble upon the realization that holy water lets their weapons cut through troll rock like butter, and with the massive St. Olaf spring beneath the church, they finally have ammo. Their master plan, Operation Super Soaker. Alright, we're gonna strap a pair of Power Drench XL water blasters loaded with St. Olaf's blessed urine onto a Huey helicopter for strafing runs. Look, we wanted to use the Super Soaker CPS 300s with the fabled backpack reservoir for their undeniable soaking superiority, but those are only sold in America, require an ATF export form, a Norwegian police import registration, and a safety declaration for pressurized reservoirs carrying treated water. We don't have that kind of time, so Major Chris gives his Independence Day style speech to the citizens of Trondheim, rallying a makeshift militia to start bucketing holy water from the spring beneath the church. The bucketed holy water is then loaded into anything that the military can weaponize. Well, not anything. 40mm grenades, mortar rounds, and improvised IEDs. Basically nothing with penetration. That is pretty cool though. Okay, so who's making the bomb vest for Nora? The stage is set. The weapons are loaded. The MegaTroll is here. The military opens fire with everything that they got, which surprisingly does not include tanks, or jets, or large artillery pieces, or anything really useful. Unfortunately, just like with the Suna choppers, the weapons only inflict superficial burns and make the troll angry, causing it to rip up a tree and hurl it into the church. It then storms the defensive line, right into their IED ambush.
How do you like your ribs?
Also having next to no effect. The situation looks hopeless until Beautiful shows up to save the day in an epic fight for Trondheim. Mama's boy got owned again. Plan B, Marion and Nora will distract to the MegaTroll while Chris and Andreas take a chopper up above it and attempt to drop a holy IED into its wide open mouth, bypassing the rocky exterior and detonating the explosive from within its squishy giblets. I like how the entire military force, which consisted of a single platoon-size element, basically just left. Wait a second, if they all pulled out, that very well could mean a cruise missile is currently headed straight for us. Oh, you dropped the detonator? Yeah, then you're gonna have to ride the explosive barrel like Major Kong and Dr. Strangelove, straight into the troll's gullet, and make sure to pull the pin before it munches you into paste. You're gonna need a grenade. Here you go. Can't blame Chris. Andreas's butterfingers are about to cost them countless lives. It's now or never. Oh wait, hold up. Andreas needs to Zoom call his wife before his ultimate sacrifice. Okay, and now we're ready. Beautiful jumps into action, clutching the Terminator execution animation before the MegaTroll dies on its own. With the MegaTroll finally destroyed and a little baby troll secured in a box, human life can continue its research on them and flourish unopposed. Ultimately, had Nora been put in a box too, literally none of this would have happened. For that reason, I think the MegaTroll in Troll 2 was beaten. Moral of the story, don't put an anti-humanist in charge of saving humans.